Apollo, my baby, can you believe that in all of these years, nobody, not a friend, not a family member, not a subscriber, had bothered to tell us that your mommy had turned into a real-life Miss Frizzle? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the rabbit hole. Not only did we have a chameleon guest this morning, but we also have a second special guest, Franz for the Nimple the Pimple. I really want to, you know what I'm saying? But I've heard bad things can happen if you try to put a premature end to Franz for the Nimple the Pimple. You know, just a real cascade effect, so we're gonna let him live out his life underneath my foundation, even if barely. He's a pretty bad one, I gotta admit. In spite of this lighthearted intro today, I actually do have a pretty serious topic for today's video. I'm sure it was implied in the thumbnail and title. But yes, I'm gonna be talking today about brands in the skincare world that I do not support. I have two things I really want to make clear before we get into the video. So first of all, I know that this can seem like a really negative topic, just saying what I will not buy, here's some drama about brands, that kind of thing, but I actually think these videos shouldn't necessarily just be seen as negative. I think it is important for you to know some details that go on behind the scenes with some of these brands so that you can make your own judgment calls and choose to put your money towards brands that are doing great things in the world. Kind of taking a negative and making it a positive situation. Oh, I don't want to support that. Instead, I do want to support this, that kind of thing. But I also want to make it clear that, you know, I do have a different reasoning behind my logic for me personally. I do have a channel. I do have, you know, some amount of influence, for as much as we all hate the word influencer. And I just want to make sure that I'm doing good things with that. If you're somebody who doesn't have a channel, isn't a big Instagram account, I totally understand if you want to say, well, you know, I see what's going on with these brands, but those skincare products work for me. Especially with the topic of skincare where it can be so hard to find products that work. I really do understand that perspective, so please know that I'm not judging anybody who does purchase from these brands. And of course, because although I don't want this to be a drama video, it does still have some elements of drama to it, please do know that everything in this video is all my own opinion, just my opinion, and also, of course, do not send hate towards any of the brands or people involved. So first up on my list, multi-level marketing. This is probably not a surprise to most of you watching. I've kind of touched on why I dislike MLMs over the years. So yes, this is something that absolutely stands. It is hard for me because I thoroughly support small business, and a lot of the times you'll notice that the people who sell MLMs will tell you, you're supporting a small business by buying through me. And it sounds real great and real heartwarming. Oh, you're buying from a single mom, you're helping her to support her kids by buying these unique products. The problem is that person selling unique, Rodent and Fields, whatever it is, they do not understand that they are completely being taken advantage of. MLMs are such a predatory business model. I don't want to spend the entire video explaining why, and there's so many content creators who have covered this very thoroughly. In fact, I'll just link you John Oliver's video in the description box below, but it's pretty much a must watch. I really cannot believe that this business model is still legal in the United States, or anywhere for that matter, because so many people have lost so much money within these pyramid schemes. They're pyramid schemes. The reason I'm so passionate about it is because I did grow up in an MLM. I was a child, so obviously I was not selling MLM products, but I did grow up in that. The reason I've never wanted to, well, I have wanted to come on my channel and talk about it, but it's a very sensitive subject within my family, and ultimately, I don't feel like it's my story to tell. Plus, I'd be telling it from the perspective of a child, so I'm not sure how much I'd get the details right, but I can absolutely sit here and tell you a tremendous contributing factor in why I grew up so poor is none other than MLMs. So again, it's so hard to, have seen all of this happen firsthand. That's why it feels so awful to sit here and say, don't support these other single moms that are stuck in these situations. But ultimately, I don't think we can. We have to somehow put a stop to the predatory business model itself, and because of that, it ends up affecting the people involved. But if we don't, if we allow it, then we're allowing that business model. Oh, it's such a mess. But anyway, I wanted to update you on the situation with Belif. I've talked about Belif a couple of times here and there more recently, and I've seen some people say they're concerned that Belif is now an MLM. So let me tell you the full story because I finally found it. The full story is that LG, who owns Belif and quite a few other brands, I'll list them on the screen here, they purchased Avon. So it's not that Avon bought out Belif, it's that the conglomerate that owns Belif bought out Avon. And so while I don't entirely understand corporate restructuring, it does seem that there's a possibility that these brands could start overlapping. So at this particular moment, I'm just kind of keeping an eye on things. I know that you can buy the Belif products on the Avon website, which has me very concerned, but I'm not yet sure if that means that Belif is an MLM. So I'm watching it. I've got my eye on the situation. I have not made any final conclusions because I don't think we're at the point of final conclusions, but it's concerning. Belif's a great brand. I really hope they don't go in the direction of an MLM, but corporate stuff, again, it's tricky. It's tricky. Next on my list, because I've actually had this list going for a while, is Jeffree Star, who I don't know if he's come out with skincare, but he was going to. I am so tired of this man. I think a lot of us on the tube of you are very tired of Jeffree Star, but just really quickly, what I wanted to touch on with this topic is the issue of homophobia and Jeffree Star. See, I've seen a few people say it's homophobic to not support Jeffree Star, as Jeffree Star is a gay man. As a gay woman here, much like the voice actor for Miss Frizzle herself, it's so important to recognize that a person can be both part of a marginalized community and also racist. In the case of Jeffree Star, he is a gay man that has displayed racist behavior. It is absolutely acceptable to call out his racism without bringing in the fact that he is gay. Nonetheless, it is possible for some people to call out his racism and bring some homophobia into their call out. I sometimes think that people use arguments like this to further their own agenda. If you really want to dig deep into what I'm talking about, there's a subreddit called R as a Black Man, and it's not what its title makes you think it would be. Instead, it's basically people who are pretending to be something else behind the scenes. So here on YouTube, you know exactly what I look like, but I could start up a Twitter if I so wanted to and pretend to be somebody that I'm completely not. And R as a Black Man really shows you this. There's a lot of Twitter posts, there's a lot of Reddit posts where you'll see somebody say something like, well, as a person of color, I have absolutely no problem with the N-word. And then they'll dig a little deeper and find out, this is not a person of color at all. And the other excuse with Jeffree Star that I just don't think I'll ever understand is the "but he was younger" argument. I don't understand that. I understand it with, 5-year-olds. Everybody has to learn at some point what these words that we shouldn't say are. But I just don't understand it for somebody in their 20s, late teens. There's certainly a line where you know what you're saying, so don't say it. Next on my list is a Korean company by the name of Keep Cool. I'm sure some of you know where I'm going with this. So back when the whole sunscreen scandal first started unfolding, Purito took responsibility, right? Keep Cool, however, had the same exact problem, but they did not want to take responsibility. So instead they were attacking small influencers. I know they attacked Mad About Skin, I think some people on Instagram as well. And that's just something that I'm gonna stay so far away from that. It is so expensive to run a YouTube channel. You are constantly replacing microphones, you are constantly replacing lighting, you gotta upgrade your camera, you gotta upgrade your software, you gotta upgrade your computer. Oh, hold on, do you want to see the computer that initially this channel started on? You will understand the lower quality from the past. if I can find it, hold on. I got it, okay. It's it's super heavy, and also it doesn't work anymore. If you try, it doesn't hold a charge, you have to have it plugged in. And also, you have to pull the battery out. Hold on. Okay, you have to pull the battery out and then stick it back in to hard reset it or something. So that was my start. I don't like technology. But I knew we had to upgrade, so I finally did spend the money and bought a MacBook, bought Final Cut Pro. That's where the quality changed on this channel. But let me tell you, it is expensive to run a channel. And then all the products. You gotta buy all the products, so it's very expensive. And, you know, to threaten a content creator with a lawsuit, which would cost a lot of money, it's no, it's no. That's not right to do. If people are concerned about your sunscreen, get it tested yourself. Make sure that that SPF is correct, because it turns out in the end, it wasn't. Those content creators were in fact right. And you know, the other thing is, you can actually be a business that takes criticism and takes it well. You know I talk about Good Molecules all the time, but I did not give them a good review initially because they had essential oils in their products. I don't think I'm the only one who said this, but over the years they not only changed their products, but they've also, did you just see that they have dropped their prices because they're making enough money to be able to produce in larger quantities, which drops the price, and they're passing that savings onto the customer. See, I told you that I was going to make this video about good brands also. Anyway, my point was, that's the right way to take criticism. Look at the small content creators, look at any content creators, and look at what they're saying and say, should I incorporate these suggestions into the brand? And then I also have Naturium on my list. This one is really hard for me because I know how much some people like Susan Yara, but it's a very similar situation to what I was just describing with Keep Cool. I see things from a slightly different perspective because I too am a content creator. I almost forgot I have a video on this also. I'll make sure to link that one. So, you know, the situation with Susan Yara, when I look at this situation, it's very frustrating for me because as a small content creator, I am trying so hard to do exactly what the FTC requires of me, because again, if I was to get fined by the FTC, that would be the end of this channel. And not only that, I want you to be able to form your own opinions given all of the information that you should have. Was a product I'm talking about gifted? Do I have an affiliate code? You should know all of those things so that you can form your own opinions on where I stand. I see a lot of creators say things like, well, this was gifted to me, but this is an honest review. See, I don't even like saying stuff like that because I studied psychology. I know that bias is a lot more prevalent than we think it is. You can't just say, I'm unbiased. No, you're probably still a little biased. Which is odd to say, that's why I don't claim this review is honest and this one somehow isn't. And you know, this is actually a way bigger problem than Susan Yara. This is almost getting into politics here, but I do think it's a real problem that the way we fine people is just flat amounts. I don't know how much time I want to spend on a pseudo-political topic, but I want to make sure this is something relatable. So, traffic fines. It's the same fine across the board. The problem is, for the person who was speeding in a BMW, that fine is probably absolutely nothing. And for the person who was desperately trying to get to work on time in their old car, that same fine can be really devastating. It's the same thing with running a channel. And I feel like that's why, again, not just Susan, but some of these big channels feel like they can get away with things where I don't feel that, nor do I want to do that to my subscribers. So an example here, the FTC requires you to state when a product was gifted every time. It's actually very clear at the top of the FTC guidelines. It says, do not assume prior knowledge. Now, I read all these FTC guidelines, so I have been doing this forever on this channel, but because other people don't do this, sometimes kind of often I get comments that are saying things like, oh, you're just bragging. Oh, I got this for free. Oh, I got this for free. No, I'm not bragging. I'm trying to disclose properly as per the law. The other part of this, though, is there's a huge disconnect in what the FTC requires and what the audience themselves knows. Did you know that the word sponsorship is not limited to a paid sponsorship? In fact, I could use the word sponsored instead of telling you I have a gifted product, even though I wasn't paid at all by the company. In fact, the paid promotion button is supposed to be used to indicate relationships other than just paid relationships. See, I didn't even know this until recently. And this is a problem. This is a problem that I think the FTC really does need to figure out how to straighten out, is how to communicate not just these rules and requirements to all content creators, but also so that people watching know. Because right now there's just so many weird loopholes, and I think that's what happened with Susan Yara's situation. I don't know if there was anything actually on the books saying that you can't pretend to be the owner of a company that you own. It's such a new situation that I think that's why she got away with it. But ultimately, I really don't like it because, again, it makes the rest of us really look bad. I feel like she must be very charismatic, though, because I've seen a lot of people completely forgive her and forget this situation even happened, and I'm kind of baffled by it. It must be charisma. Herbivore, which I don't want to spend a lot of time on because I've already made a full dedicated video. Well, it's not a dedicated video, it's about a lot of different topics, but we cover everything related to what happened with Herbivore in that video. I just can't support a company that can't get their, claims or description of a product correct. If you have a product called a bakuchiol serum, it should probably contain bakuchiol. So again, just don't want to spend a lot of time rehashing this one, but yeah, there won't be any more Herbivore products on this channel. And do know, I think the attraction with Herbivore was the clean aspect. Know that they're by far from the only clean brand out there. I mean, Rovectin immediately comes to mind. Beauty of Joseon, Pyeongkang Yul, brands like Rosen Skincare, there's so many other options for clean brands, and they are typically at a better price point than Herbivore too. I've talked about the Sunday Riley situation twice in the last week, so I don't want to spend too much time on this one either, but I will say I'm very flustered that this has happened yet again, so yet again, I'm not going to be supporting Sunday Riley. I just, go see one of my older videos, I'll link you Monday's video. You just gotta get sunscreen application right. And by the way, after that video, I looked at other mineral sunscreens on the Sephora website, and I will say the brands are typically showing much better application. The one critique I have is I would like to see brands actually show that it takes time for the white cast to disappear. Whenever you put a mineral sunscreen on, you are going to see a white cast for about 5, 10, 15 minutes, but in a good formula, it should fade. And then I have two more brands to talk about that are kind of in a bit of a maybe situation for me. So first of all, celebrity skincare lines. I want to make clear why these are never going to be my top priority, but why I'm not necessarily saying I will never buy from them. We live in a strange time, don't we? There seems to be a lot of this stan culture, and I don't entirely understand it myself, but I certainly did experience it when I reviewed Rare Beauty. I'm sorry if you're hearing about this for the millionth time. It was such an enlightening time period for me. I had no idea the levels of defense that some people would come to for somebody who will likely never know that they even exist. It's very strange for me. So in this age of stan culture, it certainly makes sense that these, multi-millionaire celebrities are coming out with skincare lines. They know they're going to be successful. And I'm sure some of them do have good products. And I also know that, much like we were talking about with Jeffree Star earlier, it can seem kind of confusing and muddy here. So do you not support Fenty because of Rihanna? No, in fact, I love Rihanna. Who doesn't love Rihanna? But nonetheless, I think that Rihanna is doing just fine in the world and doesn't need me to review her products. However, there are a lot of little tiny brands that it could help for me to support on my channel. And that's the thing, it means so much for you to, even if you don't make a purchase, we talked about this a long time ago, even if you don't buy from these small businesses, just to go follow them on Instagram. It helps them out so much, and it means so much to them. And that's the real difference for me. Yes, you could support these celebrities, but you're not doing very much by doing that. You're just adding more money to their extremely large bank accounts. Whereas when you support these small businesses, you are truly helping their lives. I was looking at the Get the Butters Instagram account the other day. I love the Butters Hygienics so much. So they have Jerome is the founder of the company, and then Zanita is the one who kind of does all of the emails. They're just such nice people. They're so sweet, and it's such a little tiny brand, but they're so thankful for what they have. And I think that's the big difference that I observe, is just seeing how much gratitude there is towards everybody who supports the brand from those small businesses. Whereas, again, it just doesn't matter with these celebrities. I mean, it's like we talked about last week. J-Lo's skincare line, it's probably going to do just fine. We do not need the entirety of the YouTube skincare community to also support her brand. But if you want to support a Latina-owned business, there is one that I'm eyeing called Brujita. It is a very clean little brand, and also it's kind of hard to catch their products. That's why I haven't been lucky yet. Next restock May 14th at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I have watched some of the creator of this company's YouTube videos, and she's such a sweet person. You know, that's the thing. If you want to support Latina-owned businesses, it's going to go a lot farther to support this type of a brand than J-Lo, who already has so much money. That makes sense. Again, you know, it's easy to get hung up on, but you're not supporting them because you're opposed to this. No, I'm just trying to make a difference in the world. And my final brand in my kind of maybes category here is actually Crave Beauty. So I have a full video on this, and I absolutely do not support the joining of the church. Hands down, do not support it. There are plenty of other churches that one could go to that are not homophobic. We cover all of that in that video. You can go watch it. Just know that I no longer read the comments on that video. Instead, R is moderating it. We started to get some really rough comments towards the end. Yeah, homophobia and transphobia are very much alive and well. I hate to tell you this, but you know, that's the reason why it's still hard for me to buy it from Crave at this point. I think Leah is a very sweet person. I think that she thought she could join this church and just not be homophobic herself, but again, like I talked about throughout that video, you still are supporting that church. See, the thing is, I'm very capable of forgiving a genuine mistake, but sometimes it's hard to tell what was a genuine mistake and what did you actually kind of know about. You just hoped you wouldn't get caught. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell, and I think that the best judge of that is time. So that's my list. Oh my goodness, I hope that I'm not forgetting some extremely sketchy brand, and then I'll have a comment section that is full of, hey, why did you leave out so-and-so? I think I got them all. Oh goodness, what if I didn't? Oh, that's what's hard about these videos too, is you're always left going, was that all? Anyway, that's all we have for today's video. I hope you were still able to enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.